computers at your home or at your work? Well, we have two representatives from Black Data Processing Associates here in the studio to talk to us about the computer revolution. They are Sandra Talley, president of the Akron chapter, and Vivian Ashburn, who's vice president of the Akron chapter of Black Data Processing Associates. Glad you could be with us on Higher Ground today.
Glad to be here.
Well, first of all, let's start with your credentials. Both of you have very impressive credentials. Sandra, you are an account systems engineer at IBM, and Vivian, you're owner of VDP Associates, your own business. Tell us a little bit about your occupations.
Okay. What I do with IBM, I'm an account systems engineer, and I go out and I assist customers in looking at what type of solution they're looking to solve a business problem that they have. And once we decide what that solution is, we sit down, we try and decide what is the appropriate system that will assist that customer in solving that business problem. And I go out and I assist the customer in installing that system, as well as if they have any technical problems or technical issues, they give me a call and I try and help them resolve those. So I'm the technical arm at IBM for the marketing reps.
That sounds pretty exciting work. How did you get into it?
Well, I went to Kent State University and I majored in computer science and management science. And from Kent, I started in with IBM as a systems engineer in 1984.
Very interesting. Now, Vivian, you run your own business.
Yes, I do, Ken. I am a former, member of this area. I went to Ohio State and lived in Columbus for 12 years and basically did the same job as Sandra did. And then my husband and I moved back up to this area in 1978 and got into a pizza business, bought a Domino's Pizza franchise, and then determined that we needed automation to supplement that business, and that's how VDP Associates started. We're a data processing services company. We provide many of the services that Sandra provides for IBM for our clients. We're a service-oriented organization, and currently we have 3 employees, and we also work with subcontractors.
Now, both of you have executive positions in Black Data Processing Associates. What is the organization all about?
Okay. BDPA is a national organization which has approximately 34 chapters across the country, from anywhere from New York City out to Los Angeles, so we cover the entire United States. Black Data Processing Associates is really an organization to assist the minority community who are in data processing or who are interested in data processing and getting a little bit more technical expertise in areas that they may already work in and in areas that they do not work in presently right now. We also try to build professional skills as well as enhance our networking both within the organization as well as with other organizations that we work with.
How many members do you have nationwide and here in Akron?
Nationwide right now we have a membership of approximately 1,000 members, and in Akron we have approximately 6 or 7 members, and we're always looking for new members to join.
Now, who can join?
BDPA is open to any person who is interested in the data processing field or is actually working in the data processing field. It is also open to students that are just getting involved, maybe high school students or college students who are looking at careers in data processing. So it's open to anyone who has an interest in learning more about computers and data processing.
Now, a lot of people hear that term, data processing. A lot of people aren't familiar with how computers work or what data processing is. What exactly is data processing?
Well, data processing covers, a wide field of automation. There are many different job categories that comprise the data processing industry, such as operators, programmers, analysts, technical writers. There are many occupations associated with that field. But data processing is really an old term for the industry. We now typically refer to it as information processing because it covers not only data per se, but words and text and other types of processing, automated processing of information. So what we try to do is to match, through our organization, we try to match all of those areas with individuals in the community and employers within the community.
Now, I know some people watching the show, maybe all they do is putter around with a Commodore 64, and they're going to say, well, gee, can I join, or is this going to be over my head?
No, I think anyone can join. And what we do is on a monthly basis, we'll bring in a speaker to talk about different topics. And not only are they computer related, where it could be, you could be learning something about how to use your PC, have some advanced functions to do with that PC that you have at home, if it's a Commodore 64, whatever it might be. We also bring in speakers to talk about dress for success, planning your financial future, looking at income taxes. So it's a broad range of topics that we cover in our year time span in our monthly meeting. So it's open to anyone, and we'd certainly welcome someone who has a Commodore and they're at home and they're just playing with it, because I play with mine at home as well, to certainly come out and find out more about the organization.
Mm-hmm. Now, there are some people, especially older people in the workplace, where computers are just being introduced into the workplace. They might be a little apprehensive, you know, maybe having not been exposed to a computer before. Do you find that people still have a fear of computers and using computers in this day and age?
I think you do find that people still have a fear. It's just a matter of change. It's something new and something different. But I think once they get started and start using it, they'll find out they can't do without it. Because we get in the office, and if our system isn't working or something isn't working, you know, it's like, well, how can I do my job today? Because you're so used to having that tool there available to you to use it. If you're without it, then you almost don't know what to do. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the things, you know, even when you talk about careers in computing, everyone doesn't have to be looking for a career in computing. Computers are going to impact their lives one way or another. If you use the ATM machine to get money out of it, that's going to impact your life. If you're an accountant, you're probably going to use some type of spreadsheet application or another computer application to do your accounting functions. If you're an artist or an architect, you know, there are packages available that could assist you in designing the building that you're looking at creating. So you don't have to really be in the data processing field, but the data processing industry is still going to touch you, because you'll see computers in almost every facet of life right now.
Mm-hmm. Even if you don't have computers on your job right now, one day you might turn around and there's one on your desk and you're going to have to use it.
And that's true.
Now, are minorities exposing themselves to computers and data processing and the technical careers like they should?
Well, we've always feel that they can do more. But as Sandra referred to just a minute ago, in every aspect of business, automation is impacting the individual's jobs, and obviously minorities are involved in the business world, and they are directly impacted by automation also. But I think that when you talk about professional careers in data processing, such as programmer, analyst, systems analyst, and technicians, minorities are playing a role in those fields, but certainly through our organization and through other organizations, we hope to impact that even more.
Mm-hmm. Are we underrepresented as things stand right now?
Well, I would say overall, nationwide, I would say no, but certainly in certain areas of the country, we are. Mm-hmm. And so that is a part of the objective of this organization, to help minorities become more represented in certain areas of this country. But I think that one of the things that we try to do as an organization is to get the minority community involved at an early age. Mm-hmm. And so part of our program emphasizes working with the youth, working with the community, and attempting to target the youth so that by the time they complete their high school education, they will have become directed towards this industry.
Mm-hmm. Now, speaking of youth, suppose someone is watching this show. Let's say they're 17, 18 years old. They're in high school thinking about going to college, and they're trying to figure out what kind of career they want to go into. Mm-hmm. And they see the show and they say, hey, that sounds pretty interesting, but you know, I really don't know a whole lot about it, but I want to look into it. What's the best way for a young person to go about considering a data processing career?
I think one of the things that they might look at doing if they're still in high school is taking a computer course in their local high school. I did that when I was in high school a number of years ago, and that's what originally got me interested in finding out more about computers. One of the things that we're striving to do for 1990 is, as I mentioned before, we have something called our Student Computer Competition, which is a national competition of high school students that compete on the national level. And what we do is, during the course of our year, is trying to get together a core group of students that we could work with to teach them basic programming, the fundamentals of computers, what is the background of computer science, how did it get started, and to try and work with some students that way to promote an interest in data processing or to further their interest in programming or whatever it might be. And that could be another way that some of the students around would find out whether or not that was a field they were really interested in going into.
Mm-hmm. When you look through the classified ads, you see a lot of computer-related job openings. A lot of those openings deal with programming. Do you have to have a strong technical or math background to get into a career as a computer programmer?
Well, I would say so, because there are certain requirements or certain patterns of thinking that are identified with the mathematical sciences. And certainly you have to have an aptitude, a mathematical aptitude, a systematic aptitude in order to be successful as a programmer analyst. But the field is changing, is rapidly changing. It is requiring that individuals know less of the math applications than they did when I first started out 20 years ago. But certainly I think that that's a good prerequisite for anyone that is looking for that specific job.
Well, where will the computer positions of the future lie? Let's look down the road 10, 20 years.
Well, I think just based on my experience with my business, the field of technical writing and documentation is a field that is expanding. Programmer analyst, I think that field opportunity is plateauing. I don't think it's declining. The systems analyst, which is the individual who determines how the particular application is developed and set up, is still in demand. Operators certainly are not as in demand as they used to be, because more and more individuals have their own portable computer, they have their terminal on their desk. But those are the fields that I see continuing in the future.
All right. At this point, we're going to take a little break, and then we'll get right back to our conversation here with Sandra Talley and Vivian Ashburn of the Black Data Processing Associates of Akron. I'm Ken Robinson. We'll be back on Higher Ground right after this message from the Akron Area Association of Churches.
My name is Lloyd O'Keefe. The Akron Area Association of Churches has been the ecumenical witness to Jesus Christ in the greater Akron area since 1947. We welcome all churches in the area to become a member of the Akron Area Association of Churches. Our motto is honoring diversity, serving in unity. This unity we seek in Jesus Christ is our opportunity to work together towards that end. If you want to join the AAAC, please call us at 535-3112 or write us at the Akron Area Association of Churches, 750 Work Drive, Akron, Ohio, 44320. Thank you.
We're back on Higher Ground. I'm Ken Robinson, thanking you for joining us once again. By the way, if you have any questions or comments about Higher Ground, any suggestions would be greatly appreciated. If you can just drop a line to the Akron Area Association of Churches, we'd be more than happy to hear from you and act on your suggestions. Well, let's get back to our conversation now. We're talking about computers and data processing with two representatives from Black Data Processing Associates, Sandra Talley, president of the Akron chapter, and Vivian Ashburn, vice president of the Akron chapter. Well, at one time, 5-6 years ago, you couldn't turn on the TV without seeing a commercial about computers. Get your child into computers. They have to have a computer at home, or they're going to be doomed. They're not going to make it through the educational system. How do you assess that looking back? And is that really the case? Do parents really have to get their kids involved with computers at an early age?
I look at it, and it's kind of funny. I just this past weekend had my family down, and I brought some educational software home to let my cousin try it. And I think it's one of those things that can help in the educational process. There are quite a few different educational packages out there. Some of the ones we worked with this weekend were punctuation, reading for understanding, and some other science packages, mathematics packages, and I think it can reinforce what the child learns in school. And right now there are probably quite a few schools that do have computers, in their schools right now, and they're starting to use those. And so to have one at home would assist in the same effort that they're doing at school. It'll just be a continuation of what it is they're learning at school. And I think that will make a difference. It'll give the students a better understanding of the uses of computers, and they'll start at an early age understanding the importance that a computer is going to play in their life, throughout their life and throughout their career. So I think it does have a very good impact to have a computer in the home for students to use.
Now, speaking of the home, when personal computers first hit the consumer market, they were touted as handy items for a wide variety of applications like storing recipes. Do you foresee any greater role for home computers these days? A lot of people use them as word processors, and in fact they're just about put typewriters out of business. What other applications do you see computers being used in the home?
Well, that's a good question. As far as the activities that are associated with the running of a household, I don't really believe that computers will impact that. But in terms of having a computer in the home for the purpose of enhancing what you do professionally or enhancing the educational process of your children, then that is really the real application that the personal computer can bring to the home. But in terms of the actual activities of a household, I just really have a problem with seeing how personal computers can enhance cleaning up the living room or organizing the household budget for the typical family.
There was a lot of hype about personal computers when they first hit the market, and IBM was not one of the companies, I believe, that was involved in that hype. In fact, your competitor, I believe, was basically. Now, being professionals and being in a group like Black Data Processing Associates, networking is very important for black professionals to advance. Is that a correct assumption?
Yes, I believe that is. And we do try to do networking not only within Black Data Processing Associates. One of the things that we do within the organization is we try and have our regional conferences once a year, which we did hold here in Akron this past June, where we brought together 9 chapters from Minnesota, Chicago, Detroit, Pittsburgh, a couple in Ohio, as well as in Indiana. And we brought those together so we could, on a smaller level, as opposed to the national basis, network and expand our horizons and meet other people who are in the data processing profession as well, where we held professional as well as data processing type of seminars during that time. We also try and work with other organizations, network with other organizations. Here in Akron, we have worked with the National Technical Association, where we've done joint meetings or joint seminars together. Also talking a little bit about networking in the community. We're also working with the UNCF and participating in Fun Night, which is a way and means for many black organizations within Akron and Canton to come together and to support the UNCF in a fundraising drive, which is coming up in, I believe, about 2 weeks on November the 3rd. So I do believe that not only within your organization should you network, but you should network with other organizations, because we may have something, being a computer organization, that we could provide to I'll say the National MBA Association, where we have different aspects that we can work with each other to make each of our groups a better organization.
Now, we also hear a lot about seeking a mentor when you're getting into a business. Is that a wise thing to do when you go into a new career?
Well, I think it's critical in any new endeavor, whether that be a career in data processing or whether you're starting your own business, is to have someone who can sort of lead you down that path, or at least provide you some guidelines in terms of what you should do and the things that you should attempt to accomplish. And that's certainly also a part of the role of our organization is to provide a mentor role, if you will, to other individuals, within our organization, within the community, and within other organizations. And hopefully through our expertise, because we feel that we do have a high level of expertise within the organization, that we will be able to share this with the community and hopefully upgrade the level of the community.
Now, as owner of your own business, are there any pitfalls or particular struggles involved in setting up your own business? A lot of minorities are going into entrepreneurship these days. Is that the way to go? It takes a lot of work.
Yeah, it's probably about the hardest thing that you'll ever do. But certainly, this is America, and this is the home of capitalism. And so as a society, this is something we encourage, and minorities should take the opportunity to participate in that process. But certainly there is a commitment, there is a lot of work involved, and so this is an important thing to understand. And that's an individual decision to be made. But part of what I attempt to do is, when individuals discuss that with me, is to let them know the extent of what's required in order to successfully run your own business.
What's the biggest challenge in running your own business?
What's the biggest challenge? Well, as a person who has a family, the biggest challenge for me is coordinating the desires and the needs of my family with the desires and the needs of that business. That's the largest challenge for me. Now, outside of that realm, as a minority female, there are some very specific obstacles that I have had to overcome and see overcoming in the future. But especially in a very conservative Midwestern environment. But those things are just obstacles, and they can be overcome, and we have overcome many of them over the past 11 years.
Now, Sandra, IBM is a company that has a lot of mystique. It's a big company. It's a Dow Jones industrial company. What is it like to work for such a big, powerful, and respected organization?
Working for IBM it's a very interesting organization to work with, because, as you said, it is one of the largest companies in the world to work for. And in so, you find that there are a lot of different places you can go, a lot of different resources we have, that if I don't have the answers, I have another level I can go to, and there are levels within that we can go to get those answers resolved. I think with IBM, education is one of their main goals, and they want to make sure that you're educated to for not only your personal self, but also to be able to assist your customers, and helping them solve their problems and correct the issues that they might have. I like working for IBM. I've been there for 5 years now, and I think it gives you the opportunity to grow and to look at and to do what it is you want to do within the data processing organization. Looking at, being that it is such a large company, there are so many different avenues that you could go into. Not only, could I be a systems engineer? Well, I think if I was interested in interior design, there has to be a department within IBM in interior design if I want to do that. So I could go in a number of different directions within the company.
Now, before we go any further, I know a lot of people are probably saying, where and how can we get in touch with the Black Data Professionals organization? Is there an address that they can write to?
Yes, there is an address. They can write to Black Data Processing Associates, P.O. Box 8288, Akron, Ohio. The zip code is 44320. And they can also telephone at 869-0764.
Okay, that telephone number one more time in case they couldn't get that pin.
869-0764.
All right. Well, it's very intriguing conversation. Anything you'd like to add about Black Data Processing Associates that you'd like everybody to know about before we leave?
A couple things I'd like to mention. As I said, this is a national organization, and next year we'll be holding our national conference in Washington, D.C. during the month of September, and our theme for that is, can I remember it? Excellent. It's education and technology, a bonding for excellence. And one of those things, that is probably one of the most enjoyable things, is to go to a national conference and to see this group of black data processing professionals and know that you're not alone out there, and there's other people that you can surround and who can surround you with that same camaraderie in the data processing field. If there's anyone interested in Black Data Processing Associates, please do call. We are looking for new members, and we're looking for people to help and who want to receive help from our organization.
All right. Well, on that note, I guess that brings us to the close of another edition of Higher Ground. I want to thank both of you for joining me today to talk about the amazing world of computers. Glad you could join us.
Thank you.
We've been talking to Sandra Talley, who's president of the Akron chapter of Black Data Processing Associates. She's also an account systems engineer at Big Blue, IBM, and Vivian Ashburn, who's vice president of the Akron chapter of the Black Data Processing Associates, and she's owner of VDP Associates. Well, that does it for Higher Ground. I'm glad you could be with us today, and I hope you'll tune in next time when we'll have another edition of Higher Ground right here on Warner Cable Channel 7. Until then, take care. See you later.